Hello and welcome to Ticker TV. We're delighted to be joined today by Gordon Stein, Chief Financial Officer at CleanTech Lithium, the AIM-listed direct lithium extraction specialist developing sustainable projects in Chile. The business has reached some important milestones recently, with the resin absorption technology now proven and lithium carbonate being produced for prospective off-takers. CleanTech recently raised $2.4 million in a placing, mainly from dedicated resource funds and sophisticated investors, many of whom are current shareholders, adding to their holding, and have followed this up with a retail offering on Bookbuild, which aims to raise a further £2 million, and that is still current. So, greetings, Gordon. Welcome.
Hello, Donald. It's been a while. Good to see you again.
It's fantastic to see you, Gordon. How are things with you?
Busy as ever. Lots of things going on behind the scenes, but we've got a lot of exciting news coming up, so hopefully we'll have a good chat about it.
Great. Now, I mentioned that retail offering, but more of that later. For now, I think the best place to start is literally at the start. Summarise where you've got to with CleanTech Lithium. I've been discussing CleanTech with you, for 3 or 4 years now? For those slightly newer to the story, put it all in context for us.
Well, I think it's been a really interesting couple of years. I think we listed in AIM in 2022, and since then the market was extremely strong then for lithium, just in the nature of the whole worldwide lithium market. And then the last couple of years has been much tighter because of the way that the lithium market supply demand curve and so on. So lithium companies have been through a difficult period, whether it's production companies or companies like us who are moving forward on our projects. That said, though, I mean, we've been just getting on with the fundamentals in the background. I mean, you and I have had conversations, a few times now, as our projects have moved through different stages, and we've achieved a lot in the last 6 months. And actually, there's a lot of things coming together in the next 2 or 3 months, which is going to reshape the way the company moves forward. I mean, if we just look back, maybe say the last 6 months, what have we done? It's all about fundamentals. It's about making sure you've got your fundamentals in place. So when we're ready to launch the project and really move into the development and production stage, we've got all the jigsaw pieces in place that the off-takers and the strategic parties who are going to want to buy our product want to see. So in the last 6 months, we've carried out another drilling campaign in 2024. We announced those results last month, and we saw an uptick in the resource to 1.95 million tonnes in the whole basin. This is a project, just for those who don't know, in Chile. It's 4,400 meters up the mountain in Chile. It's quite a substantial resource we've found, and that's through a multiple drilling campaign, and that's been independently verified by one of the top geo houses in the US and Latin America. So we announced that to the market. So that was a positive move forward in terms of the resource. So get your resource right. Then it's, can you produce battery-grade lithium from your product? And I think that's been a key driver. The last 2 years, I mean, I've talked to you over the years about the pilot plant we were pulling together. That came from Belgium. We constructed it. We got it up and running in the mid part of last year. And that's been running really nicely. I mean, this is all about, can you prove that you can produce battery-grade lithium for the market? And what we've done is we've proved it in excess of and way beyond what we'd expected. So what we're doing is, what we're effectively using is a process, DLE, to produce an eluate using a resin, and the eluate is effectively contains the lithium, and then you turn that lithium into lithium carbonate, and it's a process. I don't necessarily need to go into the detail now, but we've proven it works. So that was an announcement we made in November last year. We're now scaling that up. I mean, we've now got, I think the announcement we announced last month was that lithium carbonate we produced in Chicago, at a downstream facility in Chicago, was 99.78% pure. I mean, it's miraculous and very, very low impurities. And the impurities we've got, we can remove through processes we've learned through this. So we've got product, we've got the resource. Do you have government support? Well, I'll explain about that later. But we've got a process we're on where by the end of March we believe we'll be moving to the next stage, and we'll probably be the first company in Chile to do that. And another point is we've probably been the most active company in Chile in the lithium space in the last 3 years. There's some big boys in Chile, but we've done multiple drilling campaigns. We've got a pilot plant which cost us $3 million. We've had that up and running. We've got, we've done technical work and so on. So a lot of progress, and what all of this is coming together in the next 2 or 3 months, and I'll explain that a bit later on. It's pretty exciting. It's just all coming together at the same time.
Okay, so I suppose we're here today to actually make the forward-looking investment case for CleanTech Lithium, and I think it starts at the the fact that using direct lithium extraction, you've got the pilot plant up and running. It's resin absorption technology, which is absolutely fascinating. It sounds quite simple, but I suspect it's not. But it sucks the lithium out of the brine, out of the Laguna Verde aquifer. And lithium carbonate. Presumably that means you're making lithium carbonate. Presumably that means you're in discussions with offtake partners. Perhaps
Nearly.
if you could take that away from us.
We're close. We're close. I mean, we have to get the product to the right level where we're comfortable, we can share. I mean, we've had big companies, household names under NDA for a couple of years with some of them. They've been to site and so on. But we need to get a product that we're ready to go. And so the pilot plant's producing good results. We've got more work to do, but we're very close now. And I think, DLE is really using a resin to do in 2 days what would normally take evaporation ponds. That's the normal way you've used brine in 20, 30 years in Argentina. It's not particularly environmentally friendly, uses up a lot of water, you use the sun to basically evaporate. DLE is a completely different process where you're effectively, in a very clean manner, doing in 2 days what the sun would do in 18 months to 2 years. So we proved our process works. It's probably worth noting that the world's been skeptical about DLE. Is it going to work? Is it going to work at scale? And whilst people are aware it's been working in China, nobody's been able to see it, but they can see it now. There's a project in Argentina, went live before Christmas, Aramit, a large project, it was an $800 million project. And they started producing battery-grade lithium with using DLE, and it's live. And they're going to be up to 23,000 tons a year, by the end of this year. So DLE is happening. We're right at the forefront, certainly in Chile, on that. And I think we're excited. So, and I think the key thing here is because of the market shift and the clear lines that there's going to be a supply dearth over the next few years, DLE will fill that space. And it's a clean way of basically, and you're using a technique that's been used for 30, 40 years in other industries, now applying it in this industry. So pretty exciting because we're right at the forefront of this in Chile.
So it's not new technology, which is a good thing. It's simply new in its use in lithium extraction.
Absolutely. Ion exchange has been used in the uranium industry for 30, 40 years. It's really using resin to extract product and in a way. And we will re-inject the spent brine minus the lithium back into the reservoir. And we'll use 100% renewable power. So you put all of that together. This is clean lithium. And there'll be a demand for it because the world needs, that sort of thing. It's certainly the car companies and the battery manufacturers will be looking for clean products. So this is a good time for us given where we are.
So your preferred jurisdiction is Chile, and no doubt you will expand on that as we go along. And direct lithium extraction technology. Why do you think that combination gives you an advantage over hard rock producers? There's my big question for you.
Well, Chile's mining country, and it's a really fascinating place to work. I mean, the regulations have come from Australia and Canada, so the regulatory process is pretty solid. I mean, you've got the biggest copper mines in the world in Chile. So Chile's a good place to do business, and it's got a fantastic resource base and people, and it's got the skill set there to really drive projects. So we're in the right jurisdiction with Chile. It's also a free trade agreement country with the US, so you can imagine there's going to be conversations with US parties about, potentially accessing our product. But look at the other. You've got hard rock coming out of Australia. That's where a large part of the world's lithium is coming from now. But this is heavy mining. This is heavy duty mining. Putting it on a ship, shipping it to China because there's no production facilities able to produce lithium carbonate in Australia. It's not. In which case, you can imagine you're shipping these huge quantities of ore across the ocean to China, where 95% of it's thrown away, and the remainder is used to eventually produce battery-grade lithium. Not particularly environment friendly, very costly. So that is sustainable, makes people money, but it's nowhere near as cost effective as the likes of DLE. You've then got the evaporation ponds. I touched on that before. It works, but you only get about 40% efficiency. You only get about 40% of the lithium out. You're using the sun to produce a sludge. Whereas DLE, you've got a very efficient process where you're getting 90% plus out of your that process in 2 days. So with the clean bit as well, it is a game changer, and there's probably 15 to a dozen, or a dozen to 15 companies around the world moving forward on DLE with Eramet in the forefront, Vulcan Energy, $1 billion or €1 billion project moving forward in Germany with government support there. So DLE is happening. And so with Chile and with DLE, we're at the forefront because we've got the pilot plant and so on. So the Chile government has said that they want DLE as part of the future for all projects now, which is great because we're in the right place.
Okay. As you said, the last couple of years have become increasingly hard for the industry and for developers such as yourself, because the lithium carbonate price is at the bottom of the cycle. I think I heard, what was it? It's been $90 down to $10. Is it currently around the $10 price? You tell me, Gordon. But you think it's set to go into deficit, which means that there's not enough lithium around, lithium carbonate, and therefore the prices are going to go up. Right. So tell me what kind of game changer that is for you.
Well, the lithium market's pretty much been in balance in supply over the last couple of years, and let's just say the Chinese dominate the market in lithium. They do, and that means they can play tunes with price and so on and squeeze. But the reality is, you look at all analysts around the world, whether it's Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley or the more, the independent and the Canacords and so forth, everybody's projecting that there's going to be a supply and demand is going to start diverging. The question is when, is it going to be 26, 27, 28? And that's the debate, is that period. But it is going to happen. The reality is you've got 20 to 30% annual growth, compound annual growth, year on year in electric vehicles. It's happening. And the new one that's come into play is battery storage. I mean, there's huge banks of battery storage going to be put into Morocco, into the US, to supply the AI mechanism. So battery storage hasn't really been factored into the numbers. So supply is going to be a big issue. And then so that's why you've got large companies like the car companies and the battery manufacturers and so on running around looking to source good sources of supply. So we're in that right good mix now with the right timing to do that. So demand will come. The price is $10,000 a ton, give or take at the moment. But there's been some green shoots. Last week, Liontown in Australia were up 9% on Friday. Markets start to realise that the pricing is starting to come back. So our expectation is that the pricing, there's people talking about the pricing going up to $15,000, $20,000 a ton just this year. So the pricing will come up. And I think what I'll talk about later is our pricing, our cost model is already today economic. Once the price starts moving in a higher direction, it becomes very, very economic. So I think,
you're very profitable at $20,000, would you be?
Well, at $10,000, our running cost is $4,000 to $5,000 a ton. Whereas you can compare that with hard rock, which can be anything from $8,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 a ton. That's why they've been shutting in plants in Australia, because they can't run them at a loss. So that's just unsustainable. So the market will turn. And for investors thinking of coming in, lithium's a good place to get into now because it's the bottom of the market. The pricing's dropped in 80% in 2 years. We've come down with it. In theory, we shouldn't come down. We're a development company 2 years away, 3 years away from production. It's the production companies now that should be affected, but we get lumped in with them. So we're pretty cheap at the moment. It's a good place for people to come in if they're thinking about getting into lithium space, because lithium will change. The market will change.
Okay, and the fact that the market will change is only one of a number of potentially useful share price catalysts set to happen. And by set to happen, I mean short term. Let me go through this quickly with you. And I would choose the fact that you're going to list on the ASX as my first thing to mention, because as all investors know, the Australian stock market is a miner's market. They don't mess around about mining in Australia. They're all miners. So what benefits will be on the ASX mean for CleanTech Lithium?
You've just answered my question.
So sorry.
No, I mean, our major shareholder, Regal Fund, based out of Australia, has been pushing us, for a better part of 2 years now to get on ASX. It's a market. You've got 40 lithium companies on there. There's 3 or 4 in the UK, 40 in Australia. You've got a retail market there that knows mining, and you've got an investor base that understands extraction and so on. And we've got a kind of different story. So it's been an interesting process the last couple of years, because it's quite a regulatory process to get on ASX. But we're very close now. I mean, the documentation, working on it now, is coming together. So we'll look to list on ASX in the next couple of months, and that will hopefully we'll see a re-rate. I mean, I look at some of my peers. or our peers. And companies with a third of our resource and 3 times our market cap. Work that one out, Donald. I don't understand that, but that's the reality. So we believe you'll see a lot of IR in the next couple of months. You'll see PR, you'll see analyst reports. The market will be telling the market our story in a better way, and hopefully as we lead into ASX, we'll get that real uplift. So we've had a very positive audience in Australia as we've been out there, with our chairman and brokers and so on. So we're looking forward to getting on that market and allowing us, hopefully, to fly in a market which really understands what we're doing.
Yes. So ASX, that's the first thing. In a couple of months' time, you're on ASX. Moving on, CTL have several great assets. The number one of which, the flagship of which, is Laguna Verde, and you're about to have a pre-feasibility study due to be published there. It was due this quarter. It's been put back a little bit. What do you expect to be announcing, Gordon? What part does the PFS play in developing the economics of that project? Tell us all.
It's important for the market, but it's even more important for the people who want to buy our product. You've got your strategic partners all want to see PFS. They've been saying to us, tell us when you've got the product and tell us when you've got the PFS, because then they look at it, and the PFS is basically a jigsaw puzzle of different studies: power, water, location, product, how are you going to take your project forward? And it's the whole economic basis of your project. And as you know, be at home, it's a $2-3 million project to get a PFS. So, and because we've been doing the fundamentals right, this is going to be a substantial piece of work which we'll put out to the market. I'm not say what the capital costs are and so on and so forth. We're pretty close on that. Most of the studies have been completed. Some of them are still being worked on. Capital and operating costs, we're still working those numbers. But when we put that out, we'll be able to knock on strategic parties' doors and say, here's the PFS, here's the product, do you want to play? And actually, we think we'll get a good audience. And we've got some good advisors we're talking to that we're going to be looking to engage that will open doors with those kind of parties. And we've got, certain German car companies want to talk to us. They're all looking, but the PFS is that another piece of the jigsaw of the story. So it's been quite an extensive exercise.
It's more than just a jigsaw piece, though. It's a catalyst. It's a driver. It's a big. It's a pre-PFS and then a post-PFS. It's a big deal. Things change.
The PFS will allow us to have real proper conversations with strategic parties and to get funding. I mean, we want to partner with companies of scale who can bring their balance sheet, their access to debt facilities, their banks, and there'd be export credit facilities. There's a whole mix there'll be a cocktail of funding that we'll look for, but the PFS provides that basis. You then turn the PFS into a definitive or a bankable feasibility study, and that's where your banks suddenly lock in the debt. So the funding of this project is not my particular concern. It's making sure we've got the data to provide to the strategics and those parties that evidence we can produce the product and we can do it economically, and we will look to bring them on board. So very close. And the PFS is, as you say, it's not far off, and it'll be a real catalyst. It'll be something we'll be putting out big into the market. You'll see a lot of eye on PR around that when we've got it.
Can you give us a sense of when it's going to be?
We've said in the next couple of months. I mean, we've got we said near the end of this quarter, but we're close. It's going to be very close to that period. We've been working. I mean, there was a conversation on it yesterday on some numbers of further queries coming up and so on. But it's in the next couple of months, and we're very close on that.
Okay. So let's move on to that yet another catalyst, the special lithium operating contract that you were nodding to earlier. It's also called a CO. When do you expect to hear back from the government? Indeed, what do you expect to hear back from the government? And if you could tell us what exactly that special operating contract entails. What is a CO?
Yeah, well, Chile's slightly different from other countries in that you need a special license, effectively a special operating contract to extract and exploit and sell lithium, and for very historical reasons. And there's only a couple of companies in Chile who've got it at the moment. But
is this for the company rather than for the project?
It'll be the company and the project. Yeah, you get a seal for your project, and it allows you to drive forward on the project. The government's had a national lithium strategy. It's announced a process. It's announced that 6 sellers have been chosen as a fast track to move into this process. We submitted our application. It needed to be in by the end of January. We submitted it early. It's 5,000 pages document. And this is how we're going to develop the project. This is what we've done. This is the technical work. And there was a number of boxes you needed to tick with the government. We've ticked them all, we believe. So we're pretty confident that we're going to get the green light by the end of March. Now, we pretty much got that confirmed again recently, that that date was set by the government, and they're going to announce who's going to be moving forward on that process. We're pretty confident because we believe we tick the boxes, and we've got the pilot plant, we've got the technical studies, we've done the drilling work. You look at the document, it's a pretty substantial piece of work. That's submitted, and we're just now waiting. The other key thing as well, which is probably puts us in a different place from other companies, is local communities. The nearest local communities are 100 kilometres down the mountain, but we go through them in a transport route, and they kind of see this as their ancestral lands. But we've engaged with them and nurtured that relationship for the last 2 years, 3 years. And it's been, we signed an alliance agreement with them last year. The three major communities signed a letter, which we attached to the applications, and they said, we want this project to move forward. I don't think that's happened before in Chile ever. Indigenous communities actually wanting projects to go forward. Why? Because DLE, renewable energy, do it properly, engage with the communities and share some of the rewards with the communities. Part of our application gives a 1% royalty to the local communities through a trust to improve their livelihoods. So we think we're in a very good place, and that is a huge catalyst. It's what the strategics are wanting as well. They want to see not just the PFS and the resource and the product. They want to see a clear line of sight to a project you can deliver, and we think we'll be in a good place at the end of March to announce that. We will make sure the world knows we're moving forward on that.
That's very good to hear, Gordon. And to be honest, that is an ideal place to come back to where we started our discussion. You, as in CleanTech Lithium, have just raised 2.4 million in a placing, and you've raised it from dedicated resource funds, sophisticated investors, and high net worths, many of whom are current shareholders. So what is that? What is that continued interest in CTL? What does that tell us?
I think we got good support from our shareholders. I mean, I think I did a math. I think there's 27 shareholders came in at different levels to continue to support the company. This is a stepping stone towards the ASX. I mean, they've told us to get on ASX, so that's what we're aiming to do, aside from all the other things I've mentioned. So this 2.4 provides us the ability to continue driving forward with our projects. So no, we were delighted to get that support, but we've got a clear message from the shareholders as well, is make sure you get on with it, and ASX is a key priority for them. So we think it was good, and I think I think your next question is going to be about the retail. We've got a retail offer as well for our current shareholders. We wanted all of our current shareholders, including retail, whoever was to have the opportunity to participate in this raise, the way that it was structured. So we've opened that door. We're getting some interesting, contacts on that. It'll be open for a week, so we'll announce the timing of that, etc. So that's an ongoing process. But we will be doing another raise in Australia. That's public. We have to do that. We have to get new Australian shareholders on board. But we've got a very interesting audience that we're seeing, and we're having some very good conversations. So I think, if you look at, is there a good time to invest in CleanTech? It's probably a good time now, because we're at the lowest we've been, I think, ever since I've been here, market driven. I don't think we're getting the credit we should for where we are in our projects, with all of the things I've discussed, from resource to product to etc. We spent the better part of $30 million in Chile. I don't think anybody else has done that in the last few years, and that's drilling campaigns and all the things you've heard about. So we've done the fundamentals right, and the next 2, 3, 4 months you're going to see a big shift, I think, in the way that the market looks at us, and we believe and hope we'll get a good re-rating. So if any of your audience is out there looking to buy, this is a good time. I think we're cheap, and it's a good opportunity to come in. And our own shareholders are saying that they believe the story and they're backing us. So good time.
Give us the terms of the offer. What does it consist of?
Well, the offer is for current shareholders, remember. It's not for people. If people want to buy in the market, they could probably buy now. It's 13, 14p a stock. They can buy in the market. We encourage people to do that if they feel they like the story. The offer itself was 16p at a placing price, with a warrant, a warrant which is locked in for a year at 11p, so people can have the opportunity to come in a year's time if they feel that they wish to provide more money. So we think that the market, though, is in a really good place where we're really looking to bring new retail and other investors on board. So, hence the reason I'm having a conversation with you, and we're having other. We think we've got a good story to tell, and we don't think we're necessarily being heard. So it's time for us to tell it a bit more,
Now's the time for you to get out and about. Okay, my final question, Gordon. What can any new investors expect to see in the next few months and indeed in the next year? So summarise everything you've explained to me over the last 15, 20 minutes.
Well, I hope they see lots of press releases, because I think we've got quite a number coming with the seal, we've got the ASX, we've got the product, we've got the PFS. The PFS will be a big one. The seal will be a really big one. And we hope to be the first company in Chile driving our project forward. I mean, the government wants 4 projects on stream by 2026-27, so at least moving forward that. So we're the only project in Chile that can potentially do that at the moment. So we can move relatively quickly. So there'll be a lot of news flow over the course of the next few months. And obviously, when we get on ASX, we'll be really looking to fire up there. We've got a couple of analyst reports that are likely to come out. These are independent analysts that will take a view. Probably be just immediately post PFS, and they'll look at the whole economics. So so a lot of news flow, and hopefully a lot of exciting news and a re-rating of our stock, because we should be a lot higher than we are, and that's hence the reason we need to get on ASX.
Okay, Gordon Stein, CFO at CleanTech Lithium. Thank you very much indeed for joining me once again. It is always a pleasure hearing you update us about the fascinating green energy story, which is CleanTech Lithium, working way in the Chilean Andes. I look forward to hearing progress reports from you through 2025, Gordon. Many thanks indeed for your time, and that's it. That's our time up.
Good to see you. Okay, cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.